Good, okay. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order and all are present except Deputy Mayor McKechnie, who will join us a little later. I'd like to do the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that Dysart is located in the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which include Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog, Rama, Boswell, and Georgian Island First Nations. These ancestral homelands are more than a place where the Anishinaabe hunted, fished, gathered, and grew their food long before the settlers' arrival. Indigenous people cared for these lands and waters and have welcomed us as their guests. We pay them respect by ensuring we continue to recognize their ongoing connection to the area and by supporting the health and integrity of the lands and community for generations to come. Okay, so could we have a resolution then to adopt the agenda? Councillor Wood Roberts and Councillor Dalton.
Okay, make the motion.
Yes,
Be it resolved that the agenda, Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dysart et al. Be on January 24th, 2023 be approved as presented.
all in favor? Carried. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature? Being none, we have a resolution then to adopt the minutes,
Okay,
moved by Councillor Casey, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor?
don't read it.
Oh, I guess you should read it,
It's okay.
but I know what it's going to say.
Be it resolved, the council approves the following meeting minutes as circulated. Special meeting of council December 9th, regular meeting of council December 13th, and special meeting of council January 13th. Everyone was in favor, right?
All in favor? Okay. Mayor and deputy mayor's updates. There isn't really much to update from the county. There's a meeting tomorrow. But I can tell you we're making progress with the tax increase. I met with my counterpart from Minden Hills last week. And the staff has done a pretty good job of reducing that. So good news will be coming on that, I think, in February. Okay. So now we're going to do a public meeting, I think.
So we have a resolution.
Yes, we do have a resolution.
Okay, I can read it if you want to.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's better you read them first.
Yeah. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourn, sorry. Yeah, I got the right one. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:05 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment application D14 ZB 2022-013 Lands of Woodcock.
Have a mover and seconder. Wood Roberts and Casey, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so now I'm going to read the public meeting comments. So you'll have to bear with me here. Good morning and welcome all. The public meeting for January the 24th will now come to order. A notice of all those in attendance at this meeting will be delivered, streamed to YouTube and recorded. Please note that the recording will be linked to the municipal website following the meeting. The purpose of a public meeting is to present planning applications to a planning forum as required by the Planning Act. This is a public meeting to consider one proposed zoning amendment to the Dysart et al. Zoning Bylaw 2005-120. During the public meeting, council will consider all information available regarding the proposed amendment, review the staff report, which includes any public comments received to date, and listen to all comments provided during the meeting. Following presentations by staff and the applicant, council members will be afforded the opportunity to ask questions. The meeting will then be open to the public to further ask questions. Public participation online, this meeting and future public meetings will be hosted via electronic participation format only until further notice. Any oral or written submissions received in advance of the meeting will be verbally read aloud at the time the application is considered. Information regarding live streaming of the public meeting is available on the Municipality of Dysart website. All persons who have been pre-registered will have an opportunity to present or ask questions about the proposals. Once I open the floor for public comments, registered attendees that wish to speak and are participating in the Zoom meeting by video will need to click the raise hand button to request to speak. The raise hand button is on the right side of the Zoom meeting screen under the participants tab. After the registered applicants participating by phone will be asked if they wish to speak. Each registered person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comments or ask questions. Once finished speaking, the meeting host will mute their microphone. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking. During the meeting, there are a couple of things I would ask you to remember in terms of logistics. Please direct all the questions and comments via myself as the chair. No decisions are made at public meetings on applications. A public meeting are held to gather public comments. After the public meeting is over, the meeting will be adjourned and returned to regular council. The application will be considered by council for a decision on this matter during the planning and land information portion of the council agenda. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who have given the municipality written notice they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy. You must make this request, in writing to the municipality. The Planning Act specifies that if a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality before the proposed bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to an appeal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to sue. So we'll now commence with the public meeting agenda. And I would assume that we have our planning staff there. Would they like to take it away?
Yes, we do. Thank you and good morning, Mayor Ferry and members of council. This is for the application D14 ZB 2022-013 Lands of Woodcock. The application is a condition of a recent severance, which requires the lands to be rezoned for their intended use. The proposed severed lot will be rezoned from rural type 1 to rural type 1-13 exception zone to recognize the reduced lot area of the property and to include environmental protection area on the property. The proposed retained lot will be rezoned from rural type 1 to rural type 2. This is to identify the backlot use of the property, and it will include environmental protection. The environmental protection areas were included into the proposed zoning of to implement the recommendations of the environmental protection, the environmental report, which is to protect the natural heritage features on the property. Access to the property will be obtained through Kenaway Road and Portage Road. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands and appropriate agencies have been circulated for comment on January 3rd, 2022. The required advertisement was also posted on the subject property as per the requirements of the Planning Act. To date, no comments have been received regarding this application. The proposed is generally consistent with the provincial policy, generally conforms to the municipal official plan, and is recommended that council approve the proposed application. And that concludes the presentation, and staff are happy to answer any questions council may have.
Any questions from council at this time? Well, if not, we'll open the meeting for public comments. Do we have any? No, none.
None. No.
Public? Well, that's good. So everybody's been satisfied with the input, so that's good. So I guess then we need a resolution.
Be it resolved that the report for file number D14 ZB 2022-013 Lands of Woodcock, which consists of Lot 2, Concession 5 in the geographic township of Dudley, municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information, and the council directs a bylaw to be brought forward for consideration during its January 24th regular meeting, and the council approve the bylaw during their January 24th meeting.
Have a mover and seconder. Nancy Wood Roberts and Councillor Boyce. All in favor? Carry. Okay.
Now we have a resolution to close the public meeting.
Oh, I don't have one on here, but
Aye.
you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:12 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Mover and seconder. Casey and Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now. General delegations. Hey, I guess, Paul, you're on board here.
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to, I guess we should hear from you first.
Yes,
and then we'll-
maybe what I should do, I have submitted a letter that I think everybody has seen, but maybe I can give you an overview
Yeah,
of
that'd be
what
good.
I'm proposing, and then I will answer questions or we can discuss my proposal. Of course, this is dealing with my Peninsula Road Grass Lake development that everyone knows about. It's been almost 2 years since I started this process, and I've spent almost $250,000 on various studies. I've done an archaeological study, extensive environmental impact studies, hydro-G study, including drilling 4 wells, a traffic study, with the exception of the archaeological study. Everything had to be peer reviewed by your consultants of your choice, which I paid for as well. I paid my planner for almost 2 years. I've done extensive site plans and aerial photo plans. Again, so all of which I've spent about $250,000 so far. Your consultants have advised me that my project will require 70 ERUs of sewer capacity, and each ERU is currently valued at $4,700. So in the event that my proposal gets approved, I will have to pay $329,000, which is fine with me. The problem that I'm having, though, I'm 2 years into this, and I could be another 2 years. And at some point, I have to have some assurance from the township that I will get these ERUs. I'm told they are available, but they're not necessarily assigned to me. So my proposal is that I would pay 50% of the $329,000 immediately upon your acceptance of my proposal. So that means I write you a check for $164,500 today or whenever we come to some agreement. The detail of my proposal, I can't expect you to reserve these ERUs indefinitely. So I have put a 2-year term on this potential agreement. And I'll quickly outline why 2 years. The way things stand right now, Dysart has approved everything and it's gone to county council. County council will consider this initially in February, and supposedly they will make a decision in March. If county council approves, or if county council denies the proposal and turns it down, then I will immediately appeal the decision to the tribunal. So right then, you're going to be at least a year getting scheduled at the tribunal and getting that over with. In the event that the county approves my proposal, a third party could object and refer it to the tribunal. So again, we're back into another year. In the event that county approves it and there are no appeals, I still haven't applied for my severances because I can't do that until the OP amendment is approved. So the best case scenario is that the county approves it, there are no objections. So I apply for my severances and it's going to be a year. Again, if we go to the tribunal, it's probably going to be 2 years because assuming I win at the tribunal, then I would have to apply for my severances. So probably another year. So maximum 2 years. I sure hope this doesn't go on for 2 years, but that's where the 2 years came from in my proposal. So I'm suggesting that, again, I pay half the money up front right now. If I lose at the tribunal, or if I just decide to back off and quit, you just give me my money back. If in 2 years this is not resolved, I'm limiting your commitment to 2 years, and then I come back and talk to you and renegotiate in the unlikely event that this is not resolved in 2 years. So I'm suggesting that it's it's not fair to you to reserve these 70 ERUs for more than 2 years. So that in a nutshell is my proposal. I'm certainly willing to negotiate and talk about anything, answer questions.
I would say to start with that I was a little concerned when I was ready to move into this position again, that we had somewhat of a limited capacity for sewage.
Yes,
But after reviewing with the consultants and starting to look forward to an expansion, you are way ahead of any developer. We have some proposals, but you're a mile ahead of anything that we've seen at this table. So it's going to take anybody 2 years anyway, or longer, to go through the processes that we have to do for multiple housing. So I think we're relatively safe in taking your position, your offer. I think it's more than fair, and it's really fair when at the end of 2 years, this council or some council has a chance to review it. So that's
Well,
my
that-
take on it.
I know you don't have a policy yet, and I assume that if we come to some agreement, that will at least tentatively be your policy.
Yes,
So-
I agree.
What I'm suggesting by putting half the money up front, the developer that has big ideas but really isn't prepared to, to go for it, probably is not going to put that much money up front. So you get rid of the people that are not serious or not got to the point where they know they're serious anyway.
I understand that, and I think you're right. Okay, is any questions from council? Paul, everybody understands what he's doing? He's securing, yes. Councillor Wood Roberts.
Just a question for Barbara, that works okay in the finance department, put that in a trust somewhere?
Yes, good morning. So we would hold that in a security account and for the duration of the once the project starts moving forward. So it's not necessarily going to be in a trust account. It will be held as a security.
I think the other thing that's happened here with capacity, we've had a number of fairly major projects that were like the Wagamog and Locarno that are really not using any capacity. And they're not likely to get going, I don't know when, maybe never, but it's certainly not in the 2 year time frame. So I think we're pretty safe in establishing this policy. Any other discussion?
How many ERUs are available now?
Oh, there's about 400, I think.
Oh, yeah, so it's adequate capacity then.
Yeah.
For now.
So assuming that you agree with this and are willing to pass a resolution or whatever, I would bring a check in today for that $164,500.
Okay. It's better than us giving you a check, but anyway. You're always writing checks. Okay, I guess, is there any other discussion before we move on here and have a resolution? So, Tamara, you have a resolution?
Be it resolved that council directs that a legal agreement be prepared regarding the proposal from Harborne Holdings Limited relating to sewage reserve capacity.
Mover and seconder? Councillor Donaldson, Councillor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Paul.
Can I assume that the $164,500 is part of this agreement then, and I can bring the check in now?
Yes, yes. you
Okay, I will do that today.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
can. Thank you. Okay, next delegation. Pardon? No. No, I think we're just gonna hear this. Okay, who's speaking here? Laurie or Francis Hill, you're speaking?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Not yet.
Okay, so video, hang on.
Okay,
Okay,
Laurie. Okay. Okay, and is Laurie?
in or Lori is after us. She's representing a different group. My husband and
Okay, I see her now anyway. So go ahead. Go ahead,
All right.
Francis and
Thank you. My husband, myself, Francis, my husband Ken, and I have a presentation. We're just bringing it up now. Can you see it?
not yet, but is this the one you presented, sent to council?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, we have seen it, but go ahead.
Okay,
Just a sec. Okay.
are you able to see the PowerPoint presentation
Yes,
now?
we are. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Well, good morning, Mayor Ferry and members of council. We thank you for this opportunity to present. My wife and I own a property on Koshlong Lake, and we commenced construction of a new home there in the fall. And the load limits on Koshlong Lake Bridge have now put our project in some jeopardy. And we also know that there are a number of other property owners and a number of other issues. So to begin with, we'll go quickly through the PowerPoint presentation since you've had it. In any event, the issue here is that the bridge serves a large area, including much of Koshlong Lake shoreline, and more than a risk just for construction, but for such things as power outages, forest fires, ice storms, house fires, etc., because of the weight restrictions on the bridge. Many people may not be able to get propane needed to heat their buildings or have their holding tanks or septic tanks pumped. Roads may not be efficiently cleared in winter due to the limitation in the size of the equipment that can be taken across that bridge. And what about accidents and that sort of thing? Construction, of course, is a problem. And we can move on to the next. So the impact of these restrictions affects at least, we've counted 146 existing residences. And there are an unknown number of properties that are eligible for development and may well have been purchased recently during the real estate boom of the last few years. And the owners of those properties may not be able to develop them as they had intended. There's also, of course, the operation of Camp Wanakita lights that are impacted by the load restrictions on the bridge. We can move on. So we think this is an emergency situation, and we have some reasons to say that. Crossing this bridge is the only access point. So it's no longer permissible because of the load limits for certain vehicles delivering essential services and for emergency service trucks. We believe this makes the bridge restoration an emergency. And the safety and well-being of all the residents and the camps are now at risk due to the load limits.
These are just some of the examples of the kinds of trucks that would no longer be possible on the bridge. So you've got the Minden fire truck, if it's about that size. You've got septic tanks, and they need to come to the community. We also have Hydro One trucks. We have the fully loaded salt and sanding plow trucks, which when you think of it, you could probably do some smaller trucks, but you have more to do and more to get across. And of course, some of our community are already locked into contracts, and they have a particular size delivery truck that delivers their propane.
So when the bylaw was enacted, we're wondering, was there a plan in place to restore full access to the bridge, either on a temporary or a permanent basis? If yes, we would like to know how long it will be before access will be returned, and how will this plan be communicated to the community? If there is no plan, we're wondering why that's the case. The municipality has been aware of a crack to the north middle girder of the bridge since at least 2020. And we have photographs from the inspection report done by the engineer in 2020 showing a crack. And then in 2022, the same crack, somewhat larger. So in the absence of a plan, we're asking the council consider the following: either postpone the implementation of the bylaw until there's a workable solution. And you could request a new engineering evaluation. The one that was done for you in December is based on an assumption that the bridge will continue to be used with limited loads for 5 years. But if that period before replacement is substantially less, in other words, if you're able to replace or reinforce the bridge within 1 or 2 years, the analysis might be reworked on the basis of just 2 years of usage, and it may be feasible to remove the load limits in the meantime. You could obtain a second report. And finally, because this is an emergency situation, if the bridge has to be replaced and it's not possible to restore full operation, then in our view, because of the risks to the community, it's necessary to install a temporary solution such as the Bailey Bridge. Now, your own asset management plan states the technical level of service is to have no bridges with a load posting. And the importance of a fully functioning bridge cannot be overstated when the bridge provides the only means of access to a large developed area. So the property owners, the residents, and the general public have relied on Dysart to ensure that a fully functioning bridge is there to serve them. Load limits create risks to life, property, and use and enjoyment of property. For over 2 years, the township has known that there was a problem with the bridge. In these circumstances, there should not be an interruption in service. At this time, we don't know if a resolution is even in the works. So we hope you will have good news for us. And we thank you for your attention, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I thank you for your presentation. It's very thorough, and it's, I think, so you know, council and staff are working with the engineers, looking for all short-term solutions until we get a long-term solution. And we should have a staff report here in the next few weeks, exactly what might happen. And I really can't tell you now, but I know we're taking it very seriously. We know it's difficult to get like a propane truck, particularly a big, but I think some of the companies have smaller trucks too. But anyway, we will get back to you with an answer.
Yeah.
When we get one. To the engineers, apparently by my understanding, and this council hasn't seen this before, but there was a crack in the beam, but it's broken now. And when they can't determine what the footings are because the bridge was built, I don't know how many years ago, 60 or something, they can't see that. So they're taking a safe route, of course, but we can't go against the engineer's report or we have a huge liability. So bear with us here. We'll get you an answer. We know the importance of it. And we could work as fast as we can to get a solution.
So if I could just have a follow-up question. You're saying that within the few weeks, it seems like the time frame is kind of fuzzy. You need to understand that this has caught our home halfway through the project, and we are looking to get some equipment across to finish the project so we can move in. So if you could give us some sense of timelines when this even temporary solution, as you know, we feel it's more of an emergency, like if the bridge had been out, what would you do? If you could give us some timelines, that would be helpful. It just feels like you don't really know when you're going to get your report and what that report will say and when you can act on it and what kinds of approvals are going to be necessary. So that could take months and months.
Well, I think I tried to say to you that we're looking for a quick solution, which would be a Bailey Bridge if one's available, which
Okay.
could solve it fairly quickly.
Okay.
But we haven't got the answer to that yet. But if we have to do a full engineering report, then we're going to have this for a little bit of a time. It's going to take some time, but hopefully we're looking for alternatives. So we'll find one.
And how will it be communicated to us? How will we know?
Well, I suppose we have your information. If we communicate it to you, you're obviously in touch with people there. So,
Okay.
Or we put an ad in the paper. We'll make sure it gets out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other lady, I think, is making a presentation too, Mrs. Bruce.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Mayor and members of council. This submission is being made by the Koshlong Lake Association in response to the bylaw imposing the weight restrictions on the bridge over the Burnt River in Donald. My name is Lori Bruce, and I am the municipal representative for our lake association. We have on our lake over 200 homes and cottages, with 139 of them relying on Koshlong Lake Road Bridge as their sole access point. So there are three main points I would like to raise on behalf of our association over the next few minutes. The first is, despite the significant implications of weight restrictions for our community, it really was only by word of mouth that residents and the Koshlong Lake Association were apprised of the pending 16-ton restriction. And we understand it was an emergency situation. There was a safety situation. We understand there was not an opportunity to reach out to consult, consider different alternatives. We understand that. But it would have been appreciated if the information could have been communicated. Going forward, we would like to see this communication issue addressed and can certainly work with the municipality to figure out how best to make that happen. The second point is we would like to make you aware of the impacts the restriction has had on local residents and cottagers. And I think the Hills have done a very good job of flagging the impacts with their presentation. And I don't want to take up a lot of your time with that, but just quickly in summary, our concerns relate to the ability to carry out construction activities, access to the delivery of materials, equipment access, and implications for services such as fire, fuel delivery, as well as implications for Camp Wanakita. The level of concern that the Koshlong Lake Association and our residents have is reflected in part by the number of residents who have advised us that they would be watching this meeting today. We asked for a bit of a head count, and based on the messages we received, we predict there's approximately about 30 people watching, representing about 20 households. And given that this has been carried out during working hours, I think this reflects a fairly high level of interest. Third, and probably most importantly, as I said earlier, we understand that this is a situation that is very challenging for the municipality. One, because it represents a safety matter, and two, because it represents something that has financial implications at a time when municipalities are probably struggling a little bit more than in the past. So what I want to talk to you about in the next minute or two is a potential solution in the short term. So what I would like to focus on is the report that was prepared in the fall of 2022 by the engineering firm Tulloch that led to the need for the weight restriction. We understand that the report relied on an engineering model to predict the need for the weight restriction. And like all models, assumptions have to be made that serve as input into the models. One of the assumptions that was made is that this is a 2-lane bridge. And that's appropriate. Each lane is rather narrow, but I believe it's 3.1 meters, which does meet the minimum standard. I think those who use the bridge might argue it really doesn't serve as a 2-lane bridge, but nevertheless, that was the assumption that went into the model, and that was appropriate. We believe there might be able to be benefit in revisiting this assumption, and we asked council to have Tulloch rerun their engineering model on which their assessment is based, assuming the bridge is a 1-lane bridge. The purpose is to determine if the bridge was a 1-lane bridge, could the permitted weight be raised? If the answer is yes, there is a solution that can provide virtually immediate relief with minimal cost to Dysart. Specifically, the bridge can officially be turned into a 1-lane bridge with line painting, signage, and some lightweight barriers or bollards. In doing this revised modeling, we also wonder if there's any other assumptions that could be tested, such as assuming that the bridge would be placed sooner than the 5 years. We understand through discussions with the municipality and what you have said today that addressing the weight restriction is a high priority. And I think even listening to what the Hills had to say and the response back today, even if you start immediately to work to develop a plan to replace or repair the bridge, or even put in a Bailey Bridge, that is not going to happen in the next week or two. It's not probably going to happen in the next month. And so there's a window of time where residents and the camp will continue to have issues getting materials, equipment, and services to and from their properties. Therefore, the most important point we want to leave you with today is please consider interim mitigation measures such as the reduction of bridge lane width or bridge width, and potentially other engineering solutions for interim measures that could address the urgent need to modify the 16-ton load. It's a critical issue for property owners. Also, please keep the Koshlong Lake Association informed on steps that Dysart will be taking to resolve the weight restrictions in the short and longer term. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Lori, and that's an interesting scenario and we will definitely have the engineers look at that possibility. But I want to tell you, we're taking this seriously, but we're kind of restricted. It's not that simple, as you can understand, just to fix it overnight. So we are working on it and we will get back to you. I think part of the communication perhaps is that most of your cottages are in Highlands East, are they not?
You're absolutely right about that.
And we should maybe be communicating better with them. I'm not saying we haven't done that, so.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, your staff have the Koshlong Lake Association contact. I'm the municipal representative. As you, if you do go back to Tulloch and ask them to consider some modifications to their model, reasonable modifications that could be implemented to result in a speedy resolution, please communicate them with the Koshlong Lake Association, and we will share the information with our members.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll have a resolution, I guess.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Koshlong Lake residents detailing concerns about weight restrictions on the Koshlong Lake Bridge.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Boyce, Councillor Wood Roberts, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Reports and recommendations of local boards. Harcourt. Tammy?
I meet with the ladies tomorrow morning. So then I'll have a report next time.
Fair enough. West Guilford? Carl?
Same thing, meetings next Monday, nothing to report.
Okay. Rails End, Nancy, I know you had a meeting.
Yeah, we had a Zoom meeting. It was good. They're a very busy bunch of ladies that I met with, and hopefully our next meeting will be down actually in the gallery. They're doing some extensive inside work right now, and they do have a report that was attached. So I'm really looking forward to working with them. Lots of things happen. The attraction, the park attracts, the Rails End, and Rails End attracts to the parks.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Okay, we have a resolution on that.
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the January 2023 Rails End Gallery and Arts Center report.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Casey, Councillor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Is there any on those other committees, anybody that has anything to report?
EIA will have a meeting with you. It's coming up here in January.
Okay.
We'll report on that next meeting.
Good, thanks for that. Okay. Fire. Dan coming on in?
Yep.
Are you there, Dan?
Good
There he
morning.
is.
Here, sorry,
Morning.
time for me to click on all the buttons here. Welcome, thank you for taking the time to listen to me here. Quick staff report. As you hopefully had a chance to review, our call numbers are right in line with what they had been the last year. When I look at our final call in for the year, 30 calls in December, and no inspections were required. Oh,
So we have three bylaws there.
yes,
Yep.
so let's just open them up to make sure that I have them correctly here. There's been a bylaw sent forward from CAO. The appointment, well, three bylaws, but to appoint the fire chief and for two different deputy fire chiefs. And then we also have another bylaw to appoint a CEMC, which is required. So if you've had a chance to review them, or is there any questions on any of that?
So you're going to be the alternative CM.
If that's okay with council.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain to Mayor
ahead.
has taken the majority of the training already required of the CEMC. So she is probably the best candidate we have for the short term.
How long ago did you take that?
Oh, I've done refreshers in the last 3 years,
Oh, there you go.
but probably for the last 30.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I took it, it's probably 30 years.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but I haven't taken any refreshers, so I can't
Yeah.
help you. Anyway, we have any discussion with Dan here, or we have the resolutions and the bylaws? Okay.
All right.
Bylaws.
All right, our first resolution is be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for December 2022.
Wood Roberts and Sawyer, all in favor? Carried.
Okay, and be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-19, being a bylaw to appoint a fire chief, Dan Jumley, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. And be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-021, being a bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief, Chris Isles, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. And be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-022, being a bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief, Stacy Parrish, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Okay, we got a mover and seconder. Donaldson and Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
And the last one is be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-20, being a bylaw to appoint a community emergency management coordinator and an alternate community emergency management coordinator for the municipality of Dysart be read at first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
mover and seconder. Wood Roberts and Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, Public Works, there's Rob.
Morning, Mayor and members of council. Got a few reports here for you. The first one is just an update on our winter maintenance operations. It's since tailed off since Christmas, but you can see by the numbers, it started out quite a bit heavier than this time last year. The sand use is about the same, but the plowing is up. That's the difference maker this year. So we'll just kind of see how it shakes out. It's still pretty mild out there. So I imagine the sand is still going to be, sand consumption is still going to be an issue.
Okay, do you want to do the resolution on that?
Be it resolved that council receives the winter maintenance update report as information.
Mover and seconder, Wood Roberts and Boyce, all in favor? Okay, now into a little more expenditure.
Yeah, the cost just getting greater on this one. So this is we're seeking pre-approval to go out on a road resurfacing tender as presented in the budget, the draft budget. It's advantageous to go out early on these to secure early pricing before people's dockets get filled up. I don't expect we're going to get some real great pricing this year based on the CPI and the way the fuel costs and everything are staying higher. What I do want to mention is we last tendered in 2021 and we did a 1-year extension with Miller Paving. So we actually secured 2021 pricing last year. So we really got a bargain last year. So it might be a bit of a shock to see the prices come in this year.
And everyone knows from the from the budget, what roads for surfacing, so. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council authorize staff to release the 2023 road resurfacing tender for work outlined in the draft 2023 budget, and that the work included in the tender be limited to pulverizing, application of granular material, and application of surface treatment.
Mover Wood Roberts and seconder Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Service vehicle tender or PDF.
Yeah, so again, we're seeking pre-approval for a new addition to our fleet, service vehicle for our mechanic and the mechanic's assistant. This was presented in the draft budget. And unless council wishes to discuss this further at the next budget meeting, we are seeking pre-approval to go source one. We've been looking around a little bit and they're kind of few and far between. So if we do find one, it's nice to pull the trigger on it nice and early.
And I did see it on the website there is a place in, I think it's in Toronto, that has a lot of 2019 20 vans, but I don't know.
Yeah, we actually stumbled across a really nice one, but it sold the day before we asked about it. So
how's our luck? Okay, moving, I guess we need the resolution first. don't we?
Be it resolved that council authorize staff to purchase a service van for use by the municipal mechanic.
Moving seconder, Casey and Wood Roberts, all in favor? Thank you, carried. Okay. A letter from Peter McCluskey. And I guess, I don't know if there's any comment on that or not. So information, I suppose. So we've all received it. Any discussion on it? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the correspondence from Peter McCluskey regarding waste incineration.
Mover and seconder. Okay, Councillor Casey, Councillor Donaldson, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you, Rob.
thank you.
Okay, Parks, Recreation and Events. Andrea,
Morning.
morning.
So we have coming up in less than 2 weeks, the grand opening of the Harcourt Rink. We're hoping weather cooperates. It seems to be getting colder at night. We have quite a few activities planned. Some of the Halliburton Huskies are coming to skate with local kids between 1 and 1:45 for a younger age group, and then 2 and 2:45 for a slightly older age group. The ribbon cutting is taking place at 1:45 and MPP Lori Scott will be there. And then we have an open skate from 3 to 5 p.m. The Harcourt Ladies Committee is going to be serving some food inside the Harcourt Hall, and it gives a chance for people to see the hall as well and just see what's out in Harcourt. And we hope we get a good turnout and the weather cooperates. We do have a plan B. We hope not to use it. So that's Sunday, February 5th. So if any of you are available and would like to come out, we welcome you out there. We're hoping to have a fun day. Then you may have seen the attachment. We have the 28 Days of Fun passport book, and that is starting. People can start submitting entries on February 1st, and it runs right through to the end of February. The book is available for pickup at the Welcome Center, our municipal office, the library, and also at the arena. We've added it there. We actually had somebody from our library branch reached out to us because Belleville caught wind of this, and they're hoping to do something similar as well. So they were asking what it looks like and if they could see a PDF version of it. So we may see this popping up in other areas as well with a take on their own area, obviously not on ours, but the activities are all throughout Dysart, and we hope that we get good turnout and good feedback from it.
Tammy, are you away then? I think Walt's going out to that, so. Yeah. Okay, anybody else that wants to go? I'm away.
Sorry,
Yes.
did you say Walt's going out to it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, he hadn't responded to my message, so that's good to know. Thank you.
But he's really busy, but he will. Okay. Okay, so we have a resolution then?
Yep. Be it resolved that council receives this report regarding the Harcourt Rink grand opening and 28 days of fun for information purposes.
Mover and seconder. You see, we've got Boyce and Donaldson, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Letter number 2 from Peter McCluskey. You're dealing with that, Andrea?
The letter was shared with me. I haven't had any communication with Mr. McCluskey.
No,
Um,
it's just been going back and forth. He's just asked that it be submitted to council. If council wants staff to look into any of the contents of the letter, you can direct us, so. But at this point, we have a resolution to acknowledge receipt.
Yeah, did he ask us to decide where to spend the money or something?
I don't have the details of it in front of me right now, because I've got too many things open, but there are a few requests regarding
Different
renaming of the beach and a flag to recognize the Rhubarb Festival.
No, so I think I just don't know where to send that, what to do with it. I guess we could review it and just see if there's any input from council on it. I think, you know, it's Eagle Lakes project, and I do know they have money. I mean, I think they could do something at the park there at where they swim, something to recognize the festival. It would be high profile, and that would be my suggestion. But resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the correspondence from Mr. Peter McCluskey detailing project proposals to honor the Eagle Lake Women's Society and to commemorate the Rhubarb Festival.
All in favor? Oh, okay, Mr. First, and mover and seconder. Better have that first. Boyce and Wood Roberts, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Building and bylaw. So I guess we've got Carl coming up and Bree and Rob. Okay, who's first here? I guess Carl, is he? Morning.
Good morning. So start things off with building and bylaw. We do have our building permit activity report. So this is our final 2022 numbers. So building permits are up, you'll see, and that is as a result of the increased number of septic systems that we've been issuing. What else? Permit fee revenue comparison. That's up from the previous years. Otherwise, that's about it. So daily inspections. So we have increased our number of daily inspections over the year. We'll be tracking that into 2023 as well, just to see what that brings, as well as maintaining the numbers as we've been doing the last 5 years.
Well, it's certainly a busy time for you guys. So I guess we have a resolution on the building permit report. If there's any questions, don't let me rush you. Okay.
Be it resolved that council received the 2022 building permit activity report as information.
All in favor? Or mover and seconder? I always forget that. Mover and seconder? Sawyer and Casey, all in favor? Okay. Changes in the building bylaw and fees for administration.
Yeah, so further to the December 13th meeting, where we provided all the supporting information and the proposed changes and the notice of public meeting. The building department has yet to receive any comments on the proposed changes. So the proposed changes are here for consideration of council. We have met all of the requirements under the Building Code Act for providing this notice, and that's about it.
Any discussion on that? Yes, Councilor Roberts.
This is still in line with the other 3 townships?
Yes, so we're now more in line with Algonquin Highlands, so they're charging 80 cents a square foot for residential, $150 admin fee. Now we are lowering our sewage systems to $650, which Algonquin Highlands has not done yet, but they do intend to do that. I think once we've done this, then the other municipalities will follow suit with lowering their sewage system fees But it's up to them whether what they plan to do with their fees.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-002, being a bylaw respecting construction, demolition, and change of use permits and inspections, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and a corporate seal attached here too.
Any discussion? Mover and seconder? Wood, Roberts, and Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, septic inspection bylaw. Is that going to be Bree or going to be Carl?
Bree.
Okay, Bree, you're on.
Okay, good morning. So similar to Carl, this is just this is the bylaws coming back to you guys. As from the last meeting that we met with, we've provided the public notice and haven't had any comments from the public with regards to change of fees or any changes to the bylaw. So we're just looking to have that passed at this time so that we can start preparing for our upcoming season.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-03, being a bylaw respecting the inspection and maintenance of existing sewage systems, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Discussion, mover and seconder. Councillor Casey and Councillor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Septic and maintenance inspection, and is that you as well, Bree?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so this is just the year-end report, so a recap on the progress that we made last year after fully running in-house for our first year, and sort of providing feedback on what we felt like we succeeded in and the things that we've outlined that we are going to make some changes for in the next upcoming season. Overall, staff feel that we were very successful this year with the way that we ran the program in comparison to the way that it was run in previous years. So we are looking forward to that success continuing on in future years.
All this information is really going to be valuable when we ever get around to cottage rentals bylaw. It's really going to save us running out again to look. A lot of kind. Resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of the septic maintenance inspection program 2022 year-end report.
Discussion, mover and seconder. Wood, Roberts, and Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Bylaw update. Is that Rob now or is it?
Yep, that's me. Morning, everyone. Typical bylaw update report. You can see the charts in front of you with our bylaws that are open and the amounts that we've received over the last year. Parking meters are still closed right now, just waiting on council direction for when they want those open. I know there was talk of some other options. Medical Center Gate, having a couple issues with them, but they're now been resolved. It is an ongoing issue with the internet for those machines, but we are just maneuvering through with them. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Did you say the ones at the medical center were broke or?
There are ongoing issues with the internet connections.
They've been up for a week, I think.
Pardon me, sorry?
They've been up quite a bit. Yeah.
They were up for the 2 weeks that I was away in December, and then we were having issues with the control program here, and we finally got that fixed up. And then there was more issues with the online payment system. But we are now running full, and we're running again.
Discussion? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council received the bylaw update report for November and December 2022 as information.
And I think I can safely say, Rob, that we are trying to make progress on the Wigamog demolition with the
Yes,
owners.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people are wondering what we're doing there. Okay,
Mayor, do you want the parking meter enacted right now? They've left the covers on for the moment.
okay. Well, I know what I do with them. As long as they're snow plowed cones, I take them right out of there. But anyway, What's everybody think? Do we want to take the covers off and charge people for meters for parking, or wait till some of the snow season's over? Pretty hard to get out of your car, jump that snow plowed cone.
Yeah, that's the last thing I think most people want to do is walk down the street to, it's hard enough for some people to get around as it is now, so.
That's right. Everybody okay with that? Just leave them on for now?
Leave them on then?
Yeah, leave them on.
Okay.
Okay,
I think you just need to move her in a seconder.
yeah, I
for that
just
as
need
the-
a mover and a seconder. Mover and seconder, Counselor Sawyer and Counselor Boyce, all in favor? And this one might take a little more time to review, the bylaw for Head Lake Park. That's you as well.
Yep, this is just to bring back the bylaw, the final bylaw for adoption, and then I will send it off to the Ministry of the Attorney General for the set fines for that bylaw of as long as council adoption. If there's any questions, I can answer that as well.
Are we recommending the fines, or are we limited to the fines? I think there's some limits on them, isn't there?
Those are the suggested fines. With those fine amounts, I really haven't had any kickbacks from the MAG office in the past for other concerns of bylaws. I think those are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, they are reasonable.
So usually they'll go with what council proposes and just adopt it into the provincial courts.
Okay. Okay.
Resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-04, being a bylaw to regulate and control Head Lake Park, including Rotary Beach, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. And further, that staff be directed to send bylaw 2023-04 to the Ministry of Attorney General for set fine approval.
What's the turnaround on that timing?
Lately, she's been really quickly, so it's probably a couple of weeks, and then we get it back.
I guess it's mostly for summer anyway, but. Okay,
Right.
Resolution then?
Just read it, we just did the mover and seconder.
Yeah, mover and seconder then. Nancy Wood Roberts and Counselor Casey. All in favor? Okay, on to finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Barb.
Okay, good morning. So we first have bylaw 2023-05, and this is being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy and to provide for interest and penalty to be applied on taxes. So the interim tax due date is broken out in two installments. The first installment is March the 15th, and the second is April 12th. And as we speak right now, the tax bills are in-house being sorted, and they will be going out within the next week.
Okay, and now it's half of last year's levy, right?
Correct.
The total of the 2 months.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-05, being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy and provide for interest and penalty to be applied on taxes, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Okay, mover and seconder. All right, Counselor Sawyer, Counselor Boyce, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Borrowing
Okay.
bylaw.
We have the bylaw 2023-06, which is a bylaw to authorize borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st of 2023. And so essentially we can borrow up to 50% of our estimated revenues to assist with operating the municipality while we collect the property taxation. And we also have here a line of credit of 1.5 million, which we could borrow against. Currently, we do not have any borrowings against that line of credit.
And hopefully we don't have to borrow. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Could I have that resolution?
Yep. Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-06 being a bylaw to authorize borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year end ending December 31st, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Wood Roberts, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Squash Club lease.
Yes, so we have bylaw 2023-18 to enter into a lease agreement with the Halliburton Highlands Squash Club. They have been occupying the building at 730 Mountain Street, right beside the curling club, for quite a few years, since the 70s. And they currently occupy about 1,600 square feet. Historically, we've never had a lease agreement with the Squash Club. However, they were successful in getting a grant to complete some repairs to the flooring. And a condition of the grant was to have a lease agreement with the municipality. Essentially, there is no monthly lease revenue. And the duration of the lease is aligned with the curling club lease, and that will end in December of 2028.
But they pay their own hydro and their own expenses, do they not?
Yes, they do pay their own hydro and a proportionate share of the insurance.
And heat?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. All right, resolution then?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-18 being a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with the Halliburton Highlands Squash Club at 730 Mountain Street, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Boyce, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and the check summary.
Yes, so total disbursements for December 2022 were $5,112,155.20. Notably, under the accounts payable, EFTs, we had $3,495,000 in transfer payments to the county and the school boards.
Can't do much about those. Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of the December 2022 check summary.
Mover and seconder. Donaldson and Casey, all in favor? Carried. Okay, tax applications.
So we have section 357 tax write-offs for demolished structures, and the total municipal portion of the write-off is $158.17.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council authorizes tax adjustments for applications made under section 357 in the Municipal Act as amended as follows. Do I need to read through them all, or do you have them in your
No, I
report?
think we have a copy of them in front of us.
Okay.
Have a mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Sawyer. All in favor? Carried. Tax applications, PDF.
So we just reviewed the tax applications.
Yep.
I think we're on to metered
Good.
sewage. And here we have the metered sewage at December of 2022. We have a full year. We actually have a good news story here. Usage is up 17.6% over 2022. Revenue is up just over 26% over 2022. So I think we're starting to see things, businesses and activities moving forward and getting back to some normalcy after COVID.
This is back closer to where it used to be.
Right.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the quarterly metered sewage readings report for the period ending December 31st, 2022.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Sawyer, Counselor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Quarter meter insurance renewal.
Yes, so we have here the 2023 insurance renewal with Marsh Canada. And we are looking at a 12.5% increase or $41,636 plus PST. We are experiencing a hardening market due to factors such as climate change, inflation, and supply chain issues. And the rate increases are not isolated to municipal operations. All commercial operations are experiencing similar challenges. And the rate increase has been incorporated into the 2023 budget.
Did you make up that list of excuses or did the insurance company?
No, that was from the insurance company.
Yeah, I wondered, okay.
Resolution. Be it resolved that council accepts the municipal insurance program renewal proposal from Marsh Canada Limited effective January 1st, 2023 to January 1st, 2024.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Wood Roberts, Councillor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay, benefit renewal.
Yes, so we have here the benefit renewal for 2023, both the Desjardins and Green Shield renewals. And good news story here, we're looking at an overall decrease of 2.24% or $8,750. So benefits with Green Shield include health, dental coverage, and Desjardins is short-term, long-term disability, life, and AD&D. And these rates have also been incorporated into the 2023 budget.
Okay. Resolution.
Be it resolved that council approve the employee benefit coverage proposal from Desjardins and Greenfield for renewal effective January 1st.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Casey and Councillor Donaldson, all in favor? Okay. And benefit or the borrowing reserves rather?
Yes,
Sure.
so during the 2023 budget, council was introduced to the one loan that was coming up for renewal on January the 17th of 2023. Initial amount of the loan was just over $3.1 million. The expiring loan value is $1,663,195. Staff did meet with the CIBC and the rates quoted for the renewal were within the 6% range. We also reached out to Infrastructure Ontario and their rates were within the 4% range. So after further review options, staff are recommending to actually borrow from the reserves, and that would be the $1,663,000 for a 5-year term on a 5-year amortization and at a 5% interest rate. So essentially, we would actually be paying ourselves that interest back into the reserves. So this report here is seeking council's approval for that borrowing of reserve funds for the actual loan.
That's good business when you can borrow from yourself and pay yourself interest. Not give it to outside organization. Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that council received the staff report for funding the CIBC debenture that expired on January 17th. And further, the council approved borrowing $1,663,195.40 from the development reserve to fund infrastructure debt. The debenture term is 5 years, amortized over 5 years at an interest rate of 5%.
Glad we got that 40 cents in there.
Yeah.
Okay, could I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Donaldson, Councillor Casey, all in favor? Carried. Okay, well, let's do administration and then we'll have a break.
Okay, the procedural bylaw, Mallory reported on at the last meeting. It was just the changes reflecting the meeting dates and changing from committee of the whole structure to a council structure.
I think we got a particularly long planning agenda today. Well, normally we wouldn't have that much, I don't think. So we'll try this and see how it works.
So do you want a resolution? For
Yeah,
that
we'll have the
bylaw?
resolution now.
Be Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-07 being a bylaw to govern the calling place and proceedings of meetings be read first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Discussion on any of that? Mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay. We'll take a break then and adjourn for 15 minutes.
Sounds good.
Okay. There we go. We got Jeff and Chris coming on board here.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Well, the first item is the what we heard in the public meeting this morning, Woodcock, so comments on that, who's going to do that? Chris or Jeff?
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry, I was just having trouble with my screen here. No concerns, and the recommendation as provided that council approve the application as submitted.
Okay. I guess we heard that there was no concerns this morning. Got a resolution then?
Mhm. Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-09 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Woodcock, which consists of part of lot 2, concession 5 in the geographic township of Dudley, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1 to rural type 1-13 exception zone, rural type 2 zone, and environmental protection zone be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Boyce and Counselor Sawyer. All in favor? Okay. Okay, next is the zoning bylaw, the same property.
I believe the next item is the renewal of a license of occupation
Oh,
agreement.
yes, it is. We know, oh, yeah, that's the one on Keller,
Correct. So yeah, it's a license of occupation agreement with Keller Health
Lake.
Properties Limited, and it's for a gate that's located on a municipally owned road allowance just near Eagle Lake. Council first issued the license of occupation in 2014 and again in 2016 and 21. It did expire in May of 2022, so the applicant has submitted an application to renew this license of occupation. Within that updated license, there's a term of 5 years, an annual license fee of $500 per year, and the applicant is required to have liability insurance in the amount of $5 million. This proposal is supported by our strategic plan, and I seek direction from council regarding the terms within the license and approval of that renewal.
I think that was a snowmobile trail, wasn't it?
Yes, and the Snowmobile Association is provided a key every year just so that they continue to use that for the snowmobile trail.
Only thing about the 5 years, I'm not sure that fee hasn't been $500 for a long time. And we should look at that for these 5-year leases, I think.
Marty, this is the old Eagle Lake Road.
Yes.
So how come they can shut the old Eagle Lake Road down? This the part of the. If somebody wanted to go forward through there or whatever, I know Kel doesn't want you on his land, but the previous two owners didn't have any problems with trespassers. How come Kellett can shut that down from everybody using it?
Well, he got it shut down because he gave permission to the snowmobile club.
But does he own that property or is
No,
that
he's-
our
he-
property?
It's our property. We're just leasing it to him. That's why I think that the 5 years is too long.
So do I, because Kirby Bag phoned me a couple weeks ago about this. And apparently the guy at Silver Eagle has put a gate up as well on that road. Up a little further.
So they're gonna have it all shut off.
Well, he's on the Bugner Road. And he wants to know why he can shut the Bugner Road off. I said, well, I don't know that. So is this just one step to everybody shutting everything off? Like,
No, I prefer that we do this, change it from 5 year to 1 year.
yes.
And then we see what's coming there, and then we can make some decisions here. I think 5 years is too long. That just locks it up for too old to.
So, but why do we allow him to shut down our land?
Well, we don't, but we do quite often do give permission for people to use non-open road allowance too, which is the
Right.
same thing. Really, but that was an old Eagle Lake Road. You're right.
If I remember from the past, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some, I think we had that surveyed and it was instances where the
Yeah,
trail
it
went
went
off
the road.
onto the private property.
So he could gate it there too.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So the
right.
Compromise was let everybody through.
Yeah, the gate was installed just to prevent several trespassing issues. And the property owner, due to the concerns of trespassing and liability, was considering shutting that portion of the trail down where it was on his property. So the installation of the gate on the road allowance was a compromise with council in 2016, or sorry, 2014, and it's just been renewed ever since. So I'm happy to
But
make any changes council wants, though.
But what about the people that bought the property at the end of Bushwell from that side? Now they can't access their property, am I correct? Because they gotta go through his gate?
No, I don't think they have to. I could be wrong, but I don't think they have to go through the gate.
Because
You know
that
what,
was the
Jeff?
concern with the Silver Eagle people that put up whoever bought it now. Is now that, well, I can't remember their name. They can't get to their land, so they went and see them, guy said, well, I'll just give you a key, and they said, that's not the point, it's not yours to gate.
Well, I don't know what the quick answer is. Because if he shuts it off on his land where the road is, they can't go anyway.
Yeah.
So I think this is a bit of a compromise, but I agree with you. It's a public road.
But I think 5 years is definitely too much if there's a change in the meantime.
Is that a big deal, Jeff, to reduce the time frame on it? And then
No,
we-
that's fine. We can just add to the resolution, subject to the changes directed by council, and then I can go back and change that in the agreement, and it still doesn't have to come back to council.
No, okay. Okay, are you amending that, Valerie?
Sure. Be it resolved that the report dated January 24th related to an application to renew license of occupation agreement LO4 AG 2021-03 in the name of Kellett Halliburton Properties Limited is received. And further, the bylaw 2023-10 being a bylaw authorize the execution of a license of occupation agreement with Kellett Halliburton Properties be read a first, second, and third time, signed and the corporate seal attached. Execution of the license agreement is to be deferred pending receipt of the signed agreement from the licensee, proof of insurance and payment of the annual license fee for 2023. And with your permission, I can add the licenses to be limited to a one-year renewal.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, move in second. Counselor Boyce. Counselor Casey, all in favor? Yeah, go ahead.
I just have a quick question about the fee. Wasn't there a fee there?
It was $500 for 1
So
year.
for 1 year? Ah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. I just didn't know whether it was for the 5 years.
No.
First. Okay.
No, that would really be a deal. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Road closing bylaw 2023, 11 and 12, the deeming bylaw.
Correct. And there are several road closing applications on the agenda, so I'm going to try and move through them quickly. The first item is a road closing bylaw in front of the lands of Bergman and Powers on Long Lake. As you mentioned, there's also a deeming bylaw component, which is required to merge their property with the shore road allowance. Staff did receive comments from the County of Halliburton on this application. No direction is being requested. It's more of an information letter, and we will provide a copy to the applicants. Subject to council direction, staff recommend approval of both bylaws. Happy to answer any questions you have too.
Did you say there was a concern from the county?
No concerns at all, and
Just a
there's no
comment.
direction, just comments
Okay.
received.
All right. Okay. On a resolution then?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-11, which is a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey part of the original shore road allowance in front of lot 13, concession 3 in the township of Dudley, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. And further, the bylaw 2023-12, which is a bylaw to deem lot 94, registered plan 482 in the township of Dudley not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 53 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 94, registered plan 482 to merge with the shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2023-11.
Okay. Have a resolution and move. Have a mover and seconder. Counselor Sawyer, Counselor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay. On the
The next-
Guilford Township.
Yeah, so the bylaw 2023-13 is a road closing bylaw adjacent to the lands of Jalon and Morris, as well as Stillman and Swartz on Redstone Lake. Bell Canada and Hydro One have requested easements over the road allowance prior to conveyance. To protect long-term access of the adjacent properties who use this road allowance for access. Easements will be also granted to those property owners that are beyond this point on the road. Subject to further direction from council, or I'm happy to answer any questions, but staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Any discussion on that? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-13, which is a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance between lots 20 and 21, concession 8, and part of the shore road allowance in front of the original road allowance between lots 20 and 21, concession 8 in the geographic township of Guilford, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Counselor Casey, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now moving into Harcourt Park.
Yes, bylaw 2023-14 is a road closing bylaw in front of the lands of Harcourt Park. The tenant is Script Check, and they own 2 adjacent properties on Allen Lake. Again, we received comments from the County of Halliburton for information purposes, and we will provide them to the applicant. And staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Okay. Resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-14, which is a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance in front of part lot 12, concession 7 in the geographic township of Harcourt, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
There's no discussion, the mover and seconder. Counselor Boyce and Counselor Donaldson, all in favor? Carry. Okay,
Moving on, bylaw 2023-15 is road closing bylaw in front of the lands of Betts on Kashagawigamog Lake. The notice requirements are complete. We did not receive any concerns or comments. Subject to council direction, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-15, which is a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance in front of part lot 6, concession 7 in the geographic township of Dysart, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Counselor Casey, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Lands and debts. Kinesis, I guess. Yeah. Okay, Jeff.
Yep, moving on, bylaw, the next bylaw is a road closing application adjacent to the lands of Beta, LaFontaine, and McLean on Kinesis Lake. Again, there's a deeming bylaw component to this application. No comments have been received, and subject to further direction, staff recommend approval of the bylaws.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward, I think. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-16, which is a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance in front of part lot 20, concession 6 in the geographic township of Havelock, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. And further, that bylaw 2023-17, which is a bylaw to deem lot 77, plan 493 in the township of Havelock not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, section 3 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, CP 13, as amended, to be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 77, plan 493 to merge with the Shore Road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2023-16.
Okay, mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Casey, all in favor? Okay, next.
Next, lands of Feitner and Winstanley. So the next three items are draft bylaws where we have circulated the bylaws, but we did not receive the registered plan in time to prepare the bylaws. So we're asking that they be deferred. So again, this one's adjacent to the lands of Feitner and Winstanley on Redstone Lake. We recommend it be deferred, and it will come back to council once we've received that registered survey.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council defers the bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original Shore Road allowance in front of part lot 28, concession 10 in the geographic township of Guilford with a registered survey as provided until a registered survey is provided. And further, the council defers the bylaw to deem lot 6 registered plan 388 in the township of Guilford not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, section 3 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, CP 13 is amended.
Okay, mover and seconder. Counselor Casey, Counselor Donaldson, all in favor? That's deferred. On to the next deferral.
Yep, so this is a draft bylaw adjacent to the lands of Harcourt Park. So it's a joint application adjacent to several leaseholdings in Harcourt Park. We recommend it be deferred until we've received that registered survey.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council defers the bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance between lots 10 and 11, concession 6, and part of the Shore Road allowance in front of the original road allowance between lots 10 and 11, concession 6, and part of the Shore Road allowance in front of lot 10, concession 6, in the geographic township of Harcourt until a registered survey is provided.
Okay, mover and seconder. Counselor Sawyer, Counselor Donaldson, all in favor? Carry. And the last deferral.
Yes, one last road closing application. And it is again another deferral because we have not received the plans. It's adjacent to the lands of Lurch on Curry Road, or sorry, on Halliburton Lake. And we recommend that it be deferred.
Okay, Another deferral. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council defers the draft bylaw to stop up, close and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 16, concession 8 in the geographic township of Harborne, and the exchange of the road allowance for Curry Road, Plan 352 being part 4 for part of lot 45, Plan 352 being parts 2 and 3 until a registered survey is provided, and further that council defers the bylaw to deem lot 45 registered plan 352 in the township of Harborne not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, section 3 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, chapter 13 is amended.
Okay, mover and seconder, Counselor Boyce, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and the last one for you, Jeff, at this time, I guess, or Chris, is the telecommunications tower, Havelock Lane. Havelock
That's
Lake,
right.
rather.
Yeah, so the next 4 items are telecommunication tower proposals under the Eorn Cell Gap project. And just for information purposes, the applicants will be in attendance for all of these files to answer any questions council may have. For the first proposal, I'm just going to give a bit more background than I will on the other ones, just because this is, I believe, the first approval under this council. And just to kind of give you some information about the approval authority and our internal policy. So Rogers is proposing to construct an 85-meter guide wide telecommunication facility on Havelock Lane, which is off Watts Road, located north of Little Kinesis Lake. Rogers notes that Little Kinesis Lake is poorly serviced and have provided a site selection and justification report. ISED, actually, in its Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, are the federal approval authority for telecommunication facilities. They require proponents of new facilities to consult with municipalities where we have, I guess, a protocol or a policy in place. In 2014, Council did adopt Policy 38, which was a policy to establish a protocol for the review of telecommunication tower proposals. This protocol was established for proponents to follow, incorporating additional requirements above and beyond the ISED default public consultation process. So I did review this proposal in the context of Policy 38. Rogers has also completed the required public consultation process outlined in Policy 38, which requires providing written notice to all property owners within 500 meters. Providing notice in a local newspaper. They're required to erect a sign at the front of the property. It's not required by policy, but all of the applicants circulated the local cottage association or lake association. And in this instance, it's the Kinesis Lake Cottage Owners Association. And lastly, a virtual public meeting was held on November 23rd, 2022. For this tower up on near Little Kinesis Lake, approximately 50 emails were received. The majority of the comments were in support of the service improvements as a matter of public safety. Some members of the public mentioned recent fatalities in the area, newborn babies being at home, which require that cellular service just for health issues. Other comments to support the tower included economic and social reasons such as work and school and activities in the Halberton Forest. There were a couple comments of concern received, including, and those comments were related to tower height, aesthetics and visibility from the lake, tree removal required to install the tower, lighting, and requesting that the tower be constructed as a monopine tree-styled tower. So now that the public consultation portion of the policy is complete, Rogers is now requesting that we indicate our position on the project. Based on the information provided in the report, staff are satisfied that that public consultation process is completed by the applicant. The proposal, I should note, as mentioned in my staff report, is consistent with a couple goals and objectives outlined in our strategic plan. I do seek direction from council related to the public comments if they have any comments or questions regarding those comments, and the applicant's request for concurrence. If council chooses to provide concurrence with the proposed tower, a resolution has been provided. And lastly, Jay Lewis, who is the site acquisition specialist on this file is in attendance, just in case you have any questions or concerns.
Jeff, I think it'd be helpful to council because we've got quite a few on these on the agenda. If you just outline what council's venue is in terms of how we're considering these towers. I mean, there's certain things that we're allowed to comment on, and there's certain things that we're not, and I think we need to be brought up to speed on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, as mentioned, I think it's important to note, and Jay may be able to add to my comments, but it's important to note we are not the approval authority. It is ISED, or Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada. There are certain components of the ISED legislation that council cannot use to provide non-concurrence, or they're not justifiable reasons for concern. Some of those reasons include health, as long as the tower complies with Health Canada's Safety Code 6. Council should not consider concerns related to property values. Council should also not consider concerns related to a member of the public's concern related to their service, whether it's Rogers versus Bell, that kind of thing. Jay, I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything else with regards to the federal legislation, but those are just some things that council should keep in mind.
Yes, through your worship to Jeff, I think you summarized that great. And if there's any direct questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah. So that's the three things that we shouldn't be commenting on. Okay. The other thing is this policy 38. That might be onerous depending on the geography, that 500 meters. I think we should review that in light of what's going on here.
Yes,
500
thank you.
meters, 1,500 feet, that's always.
Yeah, thank you. And I was instructed by the previous term of council to update our policy. I just have not had the opportunity to do that yet. And it was similar concerns. How our policy requires towers to be 1 kilometer from residences, which is just not, it's not the industry norm, nor is it necessarily feasible. So I am going to work towards that, but it's something to keep in mind while you're reviewing the next 4 proposals.
Yeah, and in fairness, that was established because of a particular site right on the Conesus Lake Road. So that's why it got 15 too close to cottages. But anyway, it needs to be reviewed. Resolution.
Be it resolved, the council concurs with the proposed 85 meter tall guide wire telecommunications tower on Havelock Lake Lane, known as Site 4385. And further, the council is satisfied that the consultation process has been completed in compliance with the municipality's local municipal protocol for the review of telecommunication tower proposals.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sawyer, Councillor Boyce, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next, we might as well keep right on going here.
Yes, thank you. And perhaps we can just wait one moment while we bring in Sean Ogilvie, who is the applicant or the site acquisition specialist for this file. And while we're waiting for Sean, I can actually give a bit of background. So this is a proposal to construct a 45 meter shrouded monopole telecommunication tower on Wilkinson Road, just south of Conesus Lake. Similar to the previous file, Rogers notes that the Conesus Lake area is poorly serviced. They have completed their required public consultation process. They've circulated the Cottage Association. They held their virtual public meeting on the 24th of November. And similar to the other one, about 50 emails were received. The majority of those comments were positive, and we're in support of the tower for service improvements as a matter of public safety. One comment requested that the tower be designed as a monopine tree style tower. Another comment noted that they did not feel the towers, and that's both on the Conesus area, were warranted, and that they had concerns about the size and appearance of the towers. As per the reports provided, it's noted that monopine style towers don't achieve the height of this tower. And perhaps Sean might want to touch on that a little bit more. But in terms of the public consultation process, it's been completed and Rogers is now requesting concurrence for this site. Staff seek direction from council regarding public comments and the request for concurrence, and a resolution is provided.
Do you have a comment, Sean, on that or?
Sure. Thank you, Jeff. I'm happy to touch on that. So this one, this process I feel has actually gone quite well, and we're happy to finally be bringing these to areas that truly need the service, and we're hearing from members of the community who are supporting that. I'm sure as council members, you've been through some of these where the feelings are quite the opposite. So this has been nice to go through. In regards to the height and the monopine request, we do recognize in areas of seasonal residence, especially cottage country and areas with a lot of tree cover or near lakes, monopine is a fairly common request. Unfortunately, with monopines, as much as they are a good option for certain areas, they do come in quite a bit smaller than a lot of what's being proposed here. They cover less area and they have lower capacity, meaning they can't hold as many carriers or as much equipment. So the lower the tower is, the less area you're going to cover. That's one part. So you're going to need more towers overall. And then the second part is co-location capacity, which is just, to have more than one carrier on a tower. And monopines really limit that because they can only be built so big before they either look way too ridiculous and wouldn't fit anyway, or they have structural issues because they have fake steel branches and additional weight they're carrying on there to sort of blend in. In our specific case, this is the smallest of the 4 proposals today, I believe, at 45 meters versus the others are, I think, 80, 85 and up. In our case, it's because this started actually as just sort of a Rogers project on their own. And they figured a height they needed for this area around Kinesis Lake. And we're also conscious of it being somewhat near the waterfront, not making it extremely large. They do accept that there's a little bit of a trade-off there in terms of how far the coverage will reach with a slightly smaller tower. And then partway through, this was actually picked up by the EORN project, which I believe is covered in Jeff's reports, but just for anyone who's not aware, EORN is a public-private partnership between the Eastern Ontario Regional caucuses. And so I believe now all 4 of these towers fall under this program. So they're a little further spread out, but they are larger to cover more of these rural areas. And the reason this specific one is slightly smaller is actually because some of the studies required to build it have already been completed. So geotechnical studies for the foundation and all that has already been done. So they're going to keep it at 45 meters. But unfortunately, it's still too tall to fit the monopine profile. And in this case, they cannot go lower, both because of coverage and because of line of sight, which is just how it connects to the other Rogers towers in the network and then sort of communicates that back to the backbone network. So that's the reason for this one being a slightly different height and design than the others, but in all, the purpose is the same, to improve the rural coverage for Rogers and the EORN network.
Really not a lot of choice then.
No, I mean, if anything, they would probably like to go larger, but they've got it.
They're trying to come down.
Yeah, they've sort of got it in a balance in between, and so they're happy to leave it like that as long as council and the community is happy, which the community seems to be.
Okay. Have a resolution then?
Be it resolved that council concurs with the proposed 45-meter tall shrouded monopole telecommunications tower on Wilkinson Road.
Monopole.
Monopole, not monopine.
Oh, okay.
On Wilkinson Road, known as Site 6502, civic address 1076 Wilkinson Road, and further that council is satisfied with the consultation process that has been completed in compliance with the municipality's local municipal protocol for the review of telecommunication tower proposals.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Councillor Boyce and Councillor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Thank you. The next tower is a 90-meter tall guide wire proposal on Bryson Trail, which is just south of Percy Lake. This is part of the Cell Gap project as mentioned. Rogers has completed the required public consultation process. They circulated the Percy Lake Ratepayers Association, and a virtual public meeting was held on December 20th, 2022. Approximately 21 emails were received. Again, the majority of the comments were in support of the service improvements. Some members of the public mentioning work-related requirements. Other comments to support the tower included concerns that the vocal minority might halt this project, and the current need to, there was also the current need to drive to Eagle Lake to use cell phones. There were comments of concern received included, and those comments or concerns related to aesthetics and visibility from the lake, environmental impacts, natural heritage feature impacts. It was outlined that there was components of wildlife loon migration and concerns of lighting. There's a couple towers on the agenda today in the vicinity of Halliburton Lake and Percy Lake. So there was concerns related to the consultation and approval process related to both these towers, but also future tower locations, noting that all towers should be considered together, or all towers in the vicinity. So Rogers has completed this the consultation and are requesting council's position. Staff are satisfied that that public consultation process is complete. Again, it meets the strategic plan, goals and objectives. Jeff and Victoria McKay are also present today, so they may have some something else to add, or they're here to answer any questions that council might have.
Okay, so this is close to Percy Lake then.
Yeah, this is the Percy Lake.
And I guess the far shore of Percy Lake doesn't even have Bell, do they? No, no.
This time that the so-called new subdivision does not have Bell.
So this would be the only way they could have a cell phone then.
Yes.
Yeah. Case of the safety, yeah, okay. Any comments from Rogers? Yeah.
And if I just may add to that, so the whole Cell Gap project is, as they mentioned, a public-private partnership initiative, and it is Rogers that was awarded this contract. However, through our policy, we do require co-location be considered before new towers can be constructed. So while Bell is not being proposed through this process, they can use these towers for co-location options.
Jeff, I think what we're referring to is that there's no landlined either.
Okay. My apologies.
Yep.
So this will be their only way to communicate to get out of there. Okay. Okay.
And also just to add, that was part of our support was that, you know, safety was definitely a big concern. And so to bring some sort of service, a lot of members mentioned that they were very happy to have that and have that possibility.
So really the objections are the light and
yeah, and we really the only objection we received was concerning other towers in the area that aren't related to this tower.
no. So we'll get to those other towers when we get to them, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, think we've any other discussion here before we do a resolution? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council concurs with the proposed 90-meter tall guide wire telecommunications tower on Bryson Trail known as Site C8609. And further, the council is satisfied that the consultation process has been completed in compliance with the municipality's local municipal protocol for the review of telecommunication tower proposals.
Okay, mover and seconder. Councillor Casey, Councillor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
So this is the last tower proposal before council today, and it's a proposal to construct a 90-meter tall guide wire tower north of Halliburton Lake Road. It's accessed by North Lake Road, and it's located between North Lake and Halliburton Lake. Rogers has completed the required public consultation process. They circulated the Halliburton Lake Cottagers Association. And a virtual public meeting was held on January 12th, 2023. The meeting was attended by approximately 11 people and several emails have been received. Similar to the past towers, a majority of the comments were in support for reasons of public safety. Some of the new reasons include the reality of a post-pandemic world where we work remotely. We do some of our doctor's appointments remotely, digital classrooms, online shopping, that kind of thing. There also was a social component of it too, just to be able to talk to people. Comments of concern received included aesthetics, visibility from the lake and lighting. Similar to the last tower, other concerns related to the approval process and that perhaps when there's multiple towers being erected in a similar location, they should be reviewed together. And as well as, again, the wildlife and loon migration concerns. So Rogers has completed this process and are requesting council indicate their position on the project. Staff are satisfied that the public consultation process has been completed as per policy 38. The proposed towers are consistent with the goals and objectives of the strategic plan. And staff to seek direction from council with regards to the public comments and the request for concurrence. Eric Bell Chamber, who is in attendance today, just in case you have any questions for the applicants.
Is any question? This would be up the North Lake Road then, the road into North Lake. Back
Correct.
up on the hill there? Is that where this is located? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know how we get much farther away from people than that. Okay, I probably will hear about saying that too. Anyway, is there any discussion? Then we'll have the resolution.
Be it resolved that council concurs with the proposed 90-meter tall guide wire telecommunications tower located north of Halliburton Lake Road, civic address 6415 Halliburton Lake Road, known as Site C8611. And further, that council is satisfied that the consultation process has been completed in compliance with the municipality's local municipal protocol for the review of telecommunication tower proposals.
Okay, move and second. Okay, Councillor Casey and Councillor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so that's the end of the planning report then.
There's one more planning item on the agenda. And the last one relates to the county's request for the delegation of authority with regards to the shoreline preservation bylaw 4123. Council received a report from the county on September 27th, 2022, and requested a delegation of authority under the Municipal Act. At that meeting, council deferred their decision on the matter. And since then, the municipality has obtained a legal opinion and reviewed the bylaw. So staff seek direction from council today how they wish to proceed regarding the county's request for delegation of authority. Depending on how council chooses to proceed, there's 3 resolutions provided for your consideration.
Well, I think I'm maybe speaking out of turn here, but since there's a meeting coming up on the 30th and Dysart will be putting forth a position and it comes back to this council anyway after that, whatever the results of that are, I think it would be prudent to let it go to the 30th meeting and make a decision after we get the answers.
So that would be option 3 to defer.
No, I'm subject to whatever council thinks. Everybody okay with that?
Sorry, just can you run the 3?
3 resolutions?
Yes.
The council directs staff to draft a bylaw for its consideration in an upcoming meeting wherein delegation of its authority to implement and enforce the shoreline bylaw will be given to the county of Halliburton.
That's the delegate authority.
Yeah, so that's option 1. Option 2 is the council directs staff to advise the county that authority provided to the municipality under section 142 of the Municipal Act will not be delegated to the county to implement same. And option 3 is be it resolved that Dysart defers the decision to delegate their authority for the implementation and enforcement. So basically, as Mary suggested, until they come back with their comments after their county meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, everybody all right with that?
So Marie, just to clarify, because
Yep.
we get lots of questions.
Yep.
We're committing nothing right now. We're gonna wait a week to
No.
find out what you got,
Yep.
look at everything, decide what we do from there.
Exactly.
We've made no decisions.
Everything will come back here, whatever's decided there, and then you can delegate or not delegate.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. Okay,
Okay, so option 3.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that Dyser Didal Municipal Council defers the decision to delegate their authority under Section 142 of the Municipal Act to the County of Halliburton for the implementation and enforcement of the Shoreline Preservation Bylaw 4123.
mover and seconder. Counselor Boyce, Counselor Casey, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Okay, I guess we keep right on going. Walter missed the key part of the meeting here, but anyway. Okay, draft Lee Park and Museum Committee meeting. Minutes. Anybody been on any committees over there yet? I think Counselor Boyce was.
Yeah, no, I haven't been to a meeting yet. Our first meeting that I'm due to go to is the 9th of February.
Okay. Okay, I guess, I don't know if there's a resolution, but I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. Be it resolved, the council acknowledges receipt of the draft minutes from the October 20th Glebe Park and Museum Committee as information.
Okay. Counselor Donaldson, moved by Counselor Donaldson, second by Counselor Sawyer, all in favor? Carried. Draft Cultural Resources Committee meeting. Minutes.
Tammy, did you have any comments on that? Okay. Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of the draft minutes from the October 20th Cultural Resources Committee as information.
Okay, we have the resolution, mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Sawyer, all in favor?
And then the next is a resolution to go into closed.
Well, I would really like to have all as much council, as many councils as members as we could have here for that, and it's a little early to adjourn for lunch.
Well, we could still adjourn, and when you're ready to go into closed, go.
Yeah, we could, if Walt gets here, we'll go into close. So we'll adjourn for now and go into closed when we get another member.
So I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 11:20 a.m. to discuss matters pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees, Cultural Resources Committee member recruitment specifically, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, which is regarding the Claxon Lake access and trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which if disclosed could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group of persons, or organization. Engineering cost proposal for the Coshland Lake Bridge is the specific item.
Yeah, that's quite a mouthful, isn't it? Mover and seconder. Counselor Donaldson, Counselor Sawyer. All in favor? Okay, I guess we're adjourned then until we get another member.
Straightforward.
Yeah. Can-
No, I
That's for Victoria.
Yeah, that's.
That was the one for the Cultural Resources appointment.
That's not here.
Yeah, it is. This resolution approves it. I've got the resolution here. Okay. Are we live now, Laurie? We're back in session? Okay. So we have a resolution for the Cultural Resources Committee. Be it resolved, the council appoints Victoria Bingham to serve as the young professional representative on the Cultural Resources Committee for the 2022 to 2026 term of council. And be it reserved that bylaw 2023-08, being a bylaw respecting the appointment of members of council and public representatives of the municipality of Dysart et al. And to appoint members of council as representatives of the municipality of Dysart et al. To external boards and organizations be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto as amended.
Okay, resolution. Barry and Walt, all in favor?
Okay, and our next.
Foxconn Bridge.
Okay. Be it resolved that council accept the engineering fees proposal submitted by Tulloch Engineering for engineering services associated with the replacement of Coshlong Lake Bridge for an upset limit of $145,830 plus HST as information. And that council authorized Tulloch Engineering to proceed with the work associated in the proposal using provision 10.052A and 10.052B of the municipal procurement policy. And that the work associated with this project be funded by the Road Capital Reserve Fund. And that council authorized staff to purchase a 60-foot 8-inch Lessard modular bridge to be used as a temporary structure to be placed on top of the Coshlong Lake Bridge on an interim basis for the cost of $188,533.45 plus HST. And that the cost of the Lessard modular bridge be funded by the Road Capital Reserve Fund.
Resolution. Mover, seconder. Sandy? All in favor? Carried. You know this is a motion.
No, we have one more resolution on Clarkson. No, you have Clarkson resolution.
Yeah,
The
we
one-
do. Yeah, but
this one?
it's not on here.
That's right. So be it resolved that council declares surplus lands described as part lot 6, concession 10, designated as part 1, plan 19R7241. And further that council accept in principle the offer to purchase same from Robert Lee and or his assigns at a value of $500,000. And further that staff be directed to work with the municipal solicitor to ensure that any legal actions regarding the property are dismissed, including MFIPA.
Okay, that covers the lot, but I'm talking about the rest of the lot. We didn't talk about that.
It's regarding any of legal actions, including that one. Yeah. Do you want to read it again?
I just want to make sure. We leave it in. If I read that, I could interpret what we were talking about the property with concession 10 lot 6. We're talking about the right of way, right? That's where the argument is, where he's got a right of way. It's the sale of this property. That'll stop everything. Okay. All right. No, we'll bring that to the next one.
Get Jeff to double check it.
Okay, just we've heard the resolution then, you know, okay, Barry and Doc. All in favor? Barry. Now we have the confirming bylaw.
Be it resolved that. Sorry, be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-23 be a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on January 24th to be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Moving and seconder. Walt. And Tammy. All in favor? Barry. Adjournment.
Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting held on January 24th at 1:30 p.m.
Moving and seconder. Tammy. Carl. All in favor? I know you hate to quit. But. Well, it is.